Hey everyone, have you heard the news? It looks like Riot Games is going to change their anti-cheat system on League of Legends. And you know what it means for us Linux gamer, but also for all the gamers out there who actually care about their security on their operating system. And because I really never talk about anti-cheat, I think it was the best occasion right now to exchange together about the subject. Let's get into it. As always, let's start with a little bit of context. 10 days ago, on the YouTube official channel of League of Legends, the whole team create like this nice video where they kind of like present all the new features related to the season of 2024. But in all those subjects they aborde there is one subject here which I believe is going to be really controversial. It's the anti-cheat. So we're going to look at it together. I'm going to make some comments, and then we're going to get deeper into this, I would say, like issue for everyone, all the gamers out there.
Last year, we spent some time behind the scenes working on updating League's anti-cheat and bot detection software, as our current version had fallen behind the times. This was compounded by the security breach earlier in the year, which increased our vulnerability to botting and cheating.
So my first question when I was looking at that was like, why do you need any type of like anti-cheat system of League of Legends? Like I kind of understand why you would need one in an FPS, for example. But before watching this video, I had no idea. So for clarity, I'm not a League of Legends player at all. I don't like this type of game. Like I respect everybody playing it, but it's not my type of game. But what I noticed though is like right off the bat, those two gentlemen here are explaining why they want to increase the security related to cheat. It's because of script and botting. I didn't even know it exists on this game, but after listening to it, it kind of makes sense right away.
A pretty consistent piece of feedback that we've been hearing from you all is the high number of bots in games, disrupted smurfs in ranked, and an increase in scripting. We know this has been a consistent pain point in League, so it's been something we've been working on fixing.
One of our goals this year is to maintain and improve the competitive integrity in all of your League games, whether it's in ranked or normals, Clash, Arena, whatever. So in late February or early March,
So I kind of understand the issue related to the fact that if you are playing against someone with botting, it kind of like ruins the experience of everyone, especially if the bot is in your team. Because for people who don't know League of Legends, it's pretty toxic. At least when I was playing, it was super toxic. And having a feeder in your team is kind of like pushing you toward like a dead game. So let's go back to the video.
we're bringing Vanguard to League. Vanguard is our proprietary anti-cheat.
Okay, so they announced it. So they get rid of the old system, and now they are pushing Vanguard. So I guess it's going to explain what it is. So let's go back a little bit to have a good explanation of what Vanguard is.
Vanguard to League. Vanguard is our proprietary anti-cheat and anti-botting software that's been active in Valorant since the beginning.
Okay, so there is a lot of information here. First thing is like, it's a proprietary anti-cheat software. It's not open source, it's proprietary. This anti-cheat has been deployed in Valorant, which is their Counter-Strike type of game offering from this developer, from Riot Games. And the particularity of Vanguard, it's a third-party application you will have to install on Windows, and it will have to run all the time, even if you don't play the game. Because the way it works, I don't want to get too technical there, it loads when the operating system loads. It loads at the kernel level. So you can't start it in the user space. So to make the thing kind of like clearer, you have really two levels. You have the user space, and then you have the kernel space, and normally on top of that you have the hardware space, but we'll just stay in those two one yet. And what happened lately is that the cheats in general, which were like linked inside the user space, now they move to the kernel space. So the anti-cheat, like the stories that those devs are telling us, is that the anti-cheat has to move there. And I kind of agree with them, because it's always the game of the cat and the mouse. the cheaters are always trying to be creative to find new way to get around the anti-cheat system. So now you understand, but keep in mind what I said earlier. It's proprietary and it has to be loaded at the kernel level.
We've seen a huge amount of success in their ability to catch and stop cheaters in their games, and we expect to see similar results when we implement it in League.
Similar to Valorant's version of Vanguard, leagues will run at the kernel level. This is becoming standard
Okay, so you see like exactly what I said earlier.
for strong anti-cheat software in gaming, as cheat and bot makers are quick to adapt. If you don't run at this level, they will, and thereby evade all of the anti-cheat software as a result.
Okay, so everything I said earlier kind of makes sense. Those gentlemen, they are aligned on the same level as me. However, what I would say is that even running an anti-cheat at the kernel level still doesn't work perfectly. Some of the most recent anti-cheat proprietary running at the kernel level are totally useless. And I can mention game like PUBG. I can mention game like Call of Duty Warzone, which use an anti-cheat called Ricochet. And all those games are full of cheater. Like, fact. So, this is a debate I want to have with you guys. It's like, is that really worth it? Like, how far are we going to go to mitigate the cheating and cheater issue in general? How far are we going to go and lose in terms of privacy? That's the real question. So let's finish to hear what they have to say, those gentlemen.
Now, Vanguard offers us the ability to catch bots and cheaters as quickly and effectively as possible. It also gives us the opportunity to do things like hardware ban offenders and terminate matches in which a cheater is detected, refunding loss of LP for everybody except the person cheating, of course.
Now, we know that there's a question and concern of...
So this is a good sale there, because what is really frustrating when you are playing a competitive game is get into a game, having the whole game like erased and lose point towards your elo. So they kind of put this system in place where if they cancel the game, well, they can get, or at least the people who didn't cheat can get their elo point back. But man, I don't know.
Data privacy around kernel level anti-cheat. This is something that came up with Vanguard and Valorant as well, and we want to take a moment to tackle those concerns up front here. Vanguard does not collect or process any personal information differently from our current anti-cheat software. We don't need or want to know anything more about you or your machine other than what is necessary to maintain integrity when playing our games.
Okay. So there is a lot of information there too. I have nothing against those two guys, okay? I do believe they do their job and their intentions are clean, I would say. But, and there is a big but in the room here, what happened if someone hacks their system and use this type of like door to enter the privacy of your computer? That's, in my opinion, the real issue here. So I do understand that their intent is not to collect data towards you. The issue is related to the fact they open a door, and if they are not able to guard this door, well, we have a problem. But you have the example of Genshin Impact. I'm going to put some link in the description below for you to get deeper into it. But there is an history of anti-cheat software that kind of failed. So the problem doesn't really come from those two guys. Let's say if they have really good intention. It comes from the type of like security issue breach that this type of software can generate for a third party.
Now, if you already have Vanguard installed because you've played Valorant, you won't need to do anything else and you can continue as normal. But if you haven't, starting in a few weeks, you'll be required to install Vanguard in order to play League.
We know that this may be a meaningful change, but we're very confident it will lead to an overall better League experience for everyone. We'll be sure to communicate with you all as the changes go live and to let you know how things are going afterwards.
Well, guys, you heard it from the devs themselves. It's not going to happen to run League of Legends on Linux right now. Like, it's gone. So, in February or March, it will be required to run an anti-cheat at the kernel level to play League of Legends. And because this is totally against the philosophy of the Linux kernel, there is like zero chance as I'm speaking right now. Maybe something's going to change in the future. You know, maybe the philosophy of the kernel is going to change, and big company like that will be able to put their, you know, DRM bloat within the kernel to control their anti-cheat. It could happen, but right now this is not the case. So yeah, you're not going to play League of Legends on Linux anymore. But it kind of like make me think about how cheating has evolved for the last, I would say, like 7 years, and how like crazy it kind of became. So obviously, cheater always existed, but right now I have the feeling like we reach a point where it make multiplayer game almost like not fun to play anymore. So to give you an idea, and I'm going to share my own vision of like cheating in gaming in general. I've been playing for the last, I would say, like 6 years, but really during those last 6 years, like 5 years, like full time, and I was creating content on multiple games. And I made the calculation just before like starting this video. I calculated that I made between like 10,000 and maybe 12,000 hours of competitive gaming during the last 6 years, because I was streaming almost every day, between like 6 to 8 hours a day, sometimes like 24. And I was making the calculation, and 10,000 hours, like I made them for sure. And most of the game I was playing were competitive game, and they were all online. So the first game I think I spent the most of time was PUBG. And man, like PUBG, I have to say, I didn't encounter like that much of cheater. Like I did encounter some, but I didn't encounter like that much. Should I say there were none? No, I will be lying. I still have seen a lot, but compared to the number of hours, I think I spent between 5,000 and 6,000 hours in this game. I would say I met really like 25 cheaters, at least like blatant cheaters, when someone is like jumping on the roof, shooting me from nowhere, or another guy like flying a car across the map and killing players. And this is the trick. Some of those cheaters, they will play and play and play again. I had some of my friends who were literally like being followed by cheaters to ruin their show during the stream. The only way to get rid of those guys, even if you were running at the time a kernel anti-cheat program, because PUBG kind of like implemented it along the way to, you know, fight the cheater. Well, the only way to get rid of those guys was to call a community manager and ask the community manager to ban the guy live, because he was running the show of some of my buddies. And my point is that cheating right now is kind of like pushing gamers, even hardcore gamer like me, from playing multiplayer game online. Because we are in a situation where there is so many cheaters, and there is really like nothing that the dev can do. And when I look at those poor guys there, you know, the video we watched before, saying that they're going to move to a, you know, kernel system of anti-cheat. And I'm like, man, like, you are always behind, because it's always this game of like the cat and the mouse. And you look like the mouse, the cheater there. They are always like 5 or 6 or 7 steps ahead of the cat. And man, like, this is really frustrating. You know, I'm laughing right now, but this is what kind of like pushed me toward like solo games. I don't feel like playing multiple game anymore, because the offer that those anti-cheat kind of provide are, in my opinion, not worth it. You are losing some privacy and potentially like open your operating system to third-party application you don't have any control on. Those software are going to be running 100% of the time on your machine. And for what? For still having cheater in the game. This is a problem. You still have cheater in the game. So your experience is still the same. So those guys are going to argue there is less cheater. But I would say no. I don't think there is less cheater right now. I think they are just hiding their game way better than before. And I want to really like share with you this video And I won't be playing it because it's a long video. But if you want to understand in detail how those cheaters now use hardware which is not even linked to the gaming computer, I really encourage you to give it a look because I think it was super informative. But long story short, now there is piece of hardware you could put in your PC, like let's say for example a capture card, or I would say, or a specific DMA memory reader that will transfer memory into another computer. And this computer would have the cheat on it and will do like all the heavy lifting, all the dirty job. And none of those anti-cheat kernel to date are actually able to stop that. They just can't. And this is the era we are in right now. And the question I have for you now, I don't even know if you heard about that before. You could click on the link below and check for yourself. But the question I have for you before is like now, like, how far are you willing to go to play those games online, knowing that all those little effort you are making toward installing all the software on your computer are not even solving the issue, or are at least like doing a partial job, I would say. And this is just crazy to me. It's just crazy because I'm looking at all of this and I'm like, how far am I willing to go? That's a serious question. So guys, what do you think? Are you gonna continue to still play this game? What is your solution? Are you gonna install like a new SSD with only game and Windows on it to bypass all those problems and have all your data only on a separate operating system, whatever system it is? Or are you just going to do like me, for example, and just like don't care about this game anymore? Or maybe you have a totally like better solution I never thought about. So please let me know in this comment below. But yeah, it's kind of a sad time for us gamers who does not cheat and just want to have fun on video game. Very sad time. Guys, see you in the next one. And yeah, bisous bisous.